Hello everyone, welcome back to what could be a very long video, and if that ends up being the case in the edit, because there's just so much to talk about, get all comfy in your doona and grab yourself some snacks, because I'm about to tear this thing a new one. So real quick, for the people that aren't diehard Spider-Man nuts like me and are in the loop with what's going on, Spider-Man Lotus is the most ambitious, high-budgeted, fan-made Spider-Man film to date. The excitement and anticipation from diehard Spider-Man nuts was through the roof. I can remember seeing VFX shots and going, oh my god, that looks pretty damn good for a fan film. I've got to check this out when it comes out. The first place that this film goes wrong, before the movie even starts, is the reason why this film was even made. It was made out of spite, out of retaliation. I can do it better than you, John Watts, because I don't like the direction that Spider-Man is going in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think I can do it better. Now, for those who do or don't know, I'm not a massive fan of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I think the movies are solid movies, but not good interpretations of Spider-Man. By chance, having Tony Stark as your mentor and giving you billion-dollar suits isn't something that's very relatable. So I understood what they were going for. I understand the direction, why you would want to make this. I was interested to see what they would come up with. Can they do it? Can they show something that we haven't seen? Now when I say people were excited, they were excited enough to donate to the film. The film had a GoFundMe Kickstarter. I'm not exactly sure what it's on because I didn't donate myself. I've been more interested from the sidelines. I'm interested to see if they can do it and show something that we're not currently seeing in the movies. But I wasn't going to donate to the cause because I didn't know enough at the time. But from just a few still photos of the costume and the ideas, the inspiration from stories like Spider-Man Blue was enough for everyone to donate and generate $175,000. That's AUD in my currency. In USD, that's around 110,000. So this was no small fan film, and after the huge budget increase, Gavin J, Konop, the guy responsible for all of this, decided to bump it up from a fan film to a feature film. Us fans then seen some VFX shots, and that's what really got my interest up about what this movie could possibly turn out to be like. And right as the excitement was at its peak, we had some leaked texts from the main actor playing Peter Parker and the director himself, Gavin. And these texts had a lot of racist stuff in them, and in the matter of like 24, 48 hours, this film's credibility was being completely destroyed after a year or so of work. The VFX artists then posted a video on why they quit. They dipped out. There was a real big fight to get this film boycotted and cancelled, but that didn't end up happening. And a year after all of the allegations, some fake, some very true, the film is finally released. In separating the art from the artist, I tried to watch the movie with the best of intentions. Let's see if there's any good in this. Is there any good in this? Is it worth anyone's time? Short answer, no. Full spoilers here. If you have not seen it, it is here on YouTube for free because they can't profit off the Marvel name or Sony and its characters. However, I don't recommend watching it. It is an absolute drag to get through. So at the beginning, we get one of the cool VFX shots of Spider-Man swinging, and if you've seen any of the VFX shots beforehand, you've seen almost all of them. There's maybe one additional shot in this entire movie that hasn't been seen before. Now, I understand it's a fan film, and even with a budget of $100,000, that's like breadcrumbs for a Spider-Man film. I don't expect a lot of action, a lot of set pieces. I expect what they were trying to deliver, which is more drama-orientated and Peter Parker-focused. That's fine. There's a million things I could talk about, and I can run through this movie scene by scene, but there's just so much, so I'm going to just try and summarize what I can, the good, the bad. I understand the yellow jacket, the comic book fit for Peter Parker, and the tape recorder, you know, that's true to everything that was in Spider-Man Blue, but this movie's supposed to take place in 2023. They make that very clear. Who our age is using a tape recorder rather than something on our phones? It just doesn't make sense. I like the idea of the friend group. Not always executed well, rarely ever, but the idea of they're a group of friends that always hang out together. That to me has felt so much more real than just Peter Parker is on his own in the Raimi movies and Harry's sometimes there. Peter in the Amazing Spider-Man films, he's on his own and then he just starts to mingle with Gwen. Having a friend group feels more real. You've got dynamics that work between each member of the group. It's not a bad idea in concept. Unfortunately, all the actors are very wooden and have no chemistry together, bar maybe Harry and this kid that's in the film. So there's a classic phrase in cinema called show don't tell. If you can show something instead of giving direct exposition, you always want to do that. Well, Gavin completely forgot about that, and everything is heavily narrated and told straight to us, as if we can't understand. It's very, I'm talking down on you, but the people that are watching this movie, we're all diehard Spider-Man nuts, we know. And I suppose the narration in some cases makes sense because he's leaving these tape recordings for Gwen, who's never going to hear him, obviously, but it makes sense in that context. But then at other times, there's a lot that doesn't make any sense. It's a bit hard to talk about because this film is filled with inconsistencies. Everywhere. Like Gavin didn't know just basic numbers. One of the big parts of this film is Spider-Man meeting this terminally ill kid, right? And when he goes to meet this kid, there's entire sentences and screen time dedicated to him saying that he's 10, but he's going to be turning 11 in August, or something close to that. But then you see his tombstone later on, they get very gloomy with this. And his tombstone says that he was born in 2015 and died in 2023, so he was only 8 years old. There's just inconsistencies like that everywhere. The big fix for this film was to keep it a short film. You could cut out an hour and a half of this. You probably could, and you would still get everything, and you wouldn't feel like you've missed out. Maybe even less than 30 minutes. Because you can tell the moment he decided to change this from a short fan film to a feature-length film, he had no idea what to fill the time with. It's just padding. There is so much padding. There's a 4-minute sequence of Harry just wandering around the city. And that's it. You can see in this film there's a lot of references to the Amazing Spider-Man franchise. Gavin's very clearly inspired from the Amazing Spider-Man license plate to the USB to the banter and the way that Spider-Man sounds in his fights. So the two big Spider-Man stories this takes from is Spider-Man Blue and The Kid That Collects Spider-Man, and also loosely a bit of the 90s TV show when they tried to adapt that as well. How does it do? Not very well. When it comes to Blue, unlike the comic book, we don't have years and years of comics and development and time getting to know Peter and Gwen. We know nothing about this specific interpretation of them, and more or less the film relies on you to have just read the source material and wants you to just imagine that's canon already, so it can just get on with its whatever it wants to do. So you feel like you never even meet Gwen. And when you don't meet Gwen or know anything about that specific version of Gwen and Peter and their dynamic relationship outside of maybe 5 minutes of screen time together, you don't care. Especially after you see how his interpretation of Peter Parker treats his friends. He's at Gwen's tombstone at the start of the film. MJ comes up to him and says, it's been months, we've got to try and move on with our lives, and wants to invite him to a party. Obviously, that is the wrong place to do it, because he's at Gwen's tombstone. This is like personal, private time, and that's the most inappropriate thing to ask. Fair enough. But he explodes in a way that's just short of him saying, just go and nick yourself. Later on, he's talking to Harry, and after this whole thing with Spider-Man Blue, Green Goblin ends up biting the bullet as well. So Harry's lost his father and one of his really good friends. He's really going through it. But Peter's so oblivious to it. He starts just getting into him like, why weren't you there? And thinking about Gwen. Like, he just can't... The writing. I really struggled with this movie. Most of the time, it feels like Peter's wearing the black suit, the way he acts around his friends and other people. He just makes the most moronic choices in an aggressive way. Half of this movie is flashbacks. I mean it. I think an hour of runtime in this is flashbacks. One of them being Spider-Man versus Green Goblin following Gwen's death, and I don't think it's done well. I feel like that fight, if you want to be dark and gritty and miserable and all the melodramatic stuff, that fight needs to be more visceral. You don't want to have Spidey doing flips and taking his time and, pacing himself out. It should be unrelenting rage in that moment. If he had channeled half of the rage that he had when he was yelling at Mary Jane earlier into that, he would have just killed Goblin on the spot. Speaking of Green Goblin, I've got to say, I was laughing hysterically anytime he was talking, alright? I usually don't laugh out loud when I'm watching movies, alright? But with this, I was. We have another scene in the movie which I like to call Mary Jane and the never lighting cigarette, where she talks with Flash Thompson, and it was so boring, it just dragged, and I'm like a fan. If I'm getting bored, I can't imagine how someone who has no concept of any of this gives a shit. But I wanted to say straight up, I don't buy Flash. I do not buy this guy for a minute. Using the military angle does help make me buy into the, okay, he's kind of turning into a good guy now aspect, but that's about it. Everything else, I just don't. I bring that up because I think Gavin's made a real effort to make everyone seem as comic accurate as possible, from Peter wearing the yellow jacket to Gwen Stacy's blonde hair. Everything, he wants it to look right. So the Gwen stuff and the grieving and all the sadness, that's half of the movie, maybe more. The second portion is the kid who collects Spider-Man. So, for me, I hadn't read that initially. I grew up with the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. So I kind of got to see this already with the little girl. And I think that that's a good idea. I think in concept, mixing Spider-Man Blue with that story is a good idea. It's just everything else. Execution completely. What? So Peter gets a letter from a terminally ill kid asking to more or less like a Make-A-Wish Foundation to see Spider-Man. And so Spider-Man decides to go and see the kid, and there's problems everywhere with this. From the moment Spider-Man arrives, the kid's parent is there watching and is like, yeah, no, all good, I'm gonna just go hang out over here, whatever. The parent should never be there. In this world, Spider-Man is still technically a vigilante and a complete stranger wearing a mask. And you're not only gonna let him come to your house, but you're gonna leave him unattended with your kid. It's very awkward having the parent there and knowing and just leaving. So the conversation goes a little something like this. The kid's really excited. Spider-Man's here. Oh my god, I'm a massive fan. Look at all my walls and posters. I've even got a poster with Gwen dying on it because that makes sense. Whoops, I guess the set designers missed that one. So what does Spider-Man say? Well, he first recounts his origin story because everyone that is watching this movie specifically does not know the origin story already and needed to have that explained to them again. The only good thing about it is we get to see Ditko's version of the costume brought to live action, kinda, for the first time. And that is cool, but it's very much being overshadowed by the fact that we're seeing the origin story again. In most cases, I usually don't get that worked up about it, okay? There's an infinite number of generations coming that are just being born that have never seen Spider-Man before, and they do need to know how that all happens, but the people watching this know what this is. It's just nuts like me. We really didn't need to see it again. But in talking about his origin story and how it happened, he said it wasn't pre-planned, it was a freak accident. I actually wanted to use my powers for money and greed, you know, I didn't want to use it for anything good, and you should give up on everything you believe in because I'm actually not a good person. I got that woman killed, and no one's gonna just ever save the day, and no one's a good human being. Like, I can't quote it, I don't have it word for word. I mean, it's here on YouTube if you want to see it. But all he actively tries to do is destroy any hope that this terminally ill child has that people can be good or that he's a good person. He just tries to destroy any hope that's left. I guess Spider-Man's just really not in a good mood, to the point that the terminally ill kid is giving therapy to him about his situation with Gwen Stacy. If you're in such a bad mood, you shouldn't have come to see the kid in the first place, alright? You should have been there only if you were in the right headspace to do something like that, and if this kid's only got a day or so left to live, fill him with some hope. No, don't take it away. There's just so many inconsistencies. There's so many things that I'm probably cutting right now because this video is going on so long. It has been an hour in real time for me so far, and my brain is frying. Another example of an inconsistency. Gwen was born in 2002 and died in 2023 as on her tombstone. Well, Spider-Man's playing a video game that has the copyrighted logo that says it's from 2008. And if Gwen and Peter are supposed to be roughly the same age, that would have meant that Peter was bitten by the spider at the age of 6 years old, which he clearly wasn't in the flashback. And there's just, if you're a nut and you're diehard about this stuff, I would assume that you would watch for things like that. I haven't made the movie or any Spider-Man fan film, but even I would know to check everything like that. It makes me feel like the edit really was not looked at. I would think that if I was making a 2-hour movie, I would be scouring that thing second for second constantly to make sure it's right that the Spider-Man fans don't figure it out, that anything is bad because you've been given all of this money and you have all these eyes on you. How can you miss things like this? But Spider-Man more or less gives up on this kid. He just says, yeah, nah, see you later. And instead of exiting out the window like he would before, he just goes through the house to leave via the front door, and only then gets stopped by the terminally ill kid. His name is Timmy. He only gets stopped by Timmy's mum right then to say, hey, no, you go give that kid some hope. What are you doing? It's so wrong, alright? Yes, Spider-Man always gets knocked down kind of thing. You wanted to invoke that in the film, that's there. But the part you're forgetting is that he always gets back up. And he doesn't pick himself back up this time. Timmy's mum comes and picks him back up and pushes him back into the room with the kid. Pete reveals his identity and they try to salvage anything that's here, and it just doesn't work for me. The moment Pete was so aggressive to MJ, I was out. On top of all the other allegations and that, which I will touch on actually, I will. At the end of this, I'm going to just keep going. But otherwise the film then just cuts to his tombstone. It's very blunt. Timmy's dead now. And then it goes back to being really sad. We have MJ crying, Harry crying, everybody cries all the time. It's constantly raining and moody and slow and drawn out and padded with absolute nonsense. Harry's giving a dramatic monologue and he has a Rubik's Cube and then he just solves the Rubik's Cube and I have no idea what the hell that adds to the movie. Things just don't make any sense. Like, there's no climax to the film. There's no proper structure, alright? I guess its plot is that he's just trying to heal after the events of Gwen Stacy's death. He goes from really sad to maybe be triumphant and good again. And after the kid dies, Harry and MJ show up to console him and to give him some comfort, which really should have gone the other way. I mean, he's just been really mean to the two of them, and he should be going, yeah, you know what, I have to reach out to my friends that I've hurt, instead of them coming to me. And after that, and they seem to be a little bit closer to each other, the film ends with a sequence where they've got to go to Flash's party, and Pete, as he's about to get there, hears sirens, so he ditches his friends again for a final heroic swing. And it's what? Why? Why would you put the obligatory swing sequence in there? Like there's now some hope. This whole movie has been a dreary mess. He's closer with his friends just to ditch them again at the end. What? The music, while not always great, is probably the best part of the movie. The theme is pretty good, although it takes a lot of cues from the 90s cartoon and the 60s. The lesson at the end of the film, or at least the one that they try to push after Timmy's died, and really that's where the movie kind of should have ended before they added an extra 20 minutes, was that Spider-Man is not a choice. He has to do this. He's responsible to make sure that he is Spider-Man and does everything he does. I don't think that's great at all. Being Spider-Man is a choice, and because it's a choice and he chooses to do this, it's much more noble. He's not forced into doing the right thing. He's doing the right thing because he wants to do it, because it is the right thing to do. Some of you may think, I'm being too harsh. This is a fan film. What did I expect? What I expected was for them to treat the character right, considering everything that they were teasing and hyping up. I expected that because, yes, they had a budget. A little one, but a budget. I didn't expect big CGI fights or action sequences. I don't expect the best lighting in the world, or pacing, or acting even. I expect them to just get the character right. At least do that for us, so that we can show someone else on a higher playing field that we get that. It's the people that were giving this movie praise, that it was good, or that it had some sort of value. No, all this has done is just tarnish the character, its name. They have a little spiel at the end that this is for the creators. Don't even try. This is an embarrassment for not only fan films, Spider-Man fan films, for us, the fans, the people that donated to the movie. It screams to Hollywood that if this is the biggest and best that we can do, that we have no idea what we're talking about and we should never be given a chance. Now, before I grade it, I'm going to get into the allegations. Usually, I don't touch on anything like this because I'm nowhere near qualified to talk about anything like this. I'm just a random guy on the internet, like you're a random person on the internet. I'm in no way in any place to speak about anything. So it's the director, the lead actor playing Peter Parker, and the actor playing Green Goblin are the ones with all the messages with very racist comments and slurs in them. In their defense, that was years and years ago. They were only in school when they said all that stuff, and hopefully they can grow from shit like that. We all say stupid things every now and then, especially when we're younger. I've made so many mistakes myself. Obviously, they didn't understand the full implications of the things they were saying. The problem is that it kept going. They didn't grow from that. They did not change from that. Things only got worse. And they're getting worse right now. Gavin's only very young, right? He's what, 21 now, I think, alright? Could be 22, could be 20. I think it's 21. So yes, he's young. He's made mistakes, alright? This is his first production, his first film ever. Okay, I'll give him that too. But you'd think, being the huge Spider-Man fan that he claims to be, that he would understand the basic fundamentals of the character. That he would understand right and wrong. Your actor grooming an underage student, knowing about it, and trying to actively cover that up is not a very Spider-Man thing to do. Talking rubbish about your actors, specifically one of your actresses, that she's just ruining everything and being a huge pain in the ass, likening her to Amber Heard in the Johnny Depp trial, and then talking yourself up that she's gonna look good because you're directing it and no one's actually gonna know how shitty of an actor she was. No, even then, let's play devil's advocate, alright? Let's say she's not an A-list actor. The acting is kind of wooden and her chemistry with everyone is very stale. She's messing with your production. You're the director. You're the boss. Sort it out. Pull her aside and talk to her about it. Don't just start stabbing her in the back in messages like you're 14, because now you're 21. And you've been trying to say that you're growing and you take responsibility for the things you've said. Apparently the actor that portrayed Harry was forced to take alcohol and drugs to keep him docile and in character, and he was 19 at the time. So for America, that's very illegal. The man apparently completely dropped off social media and had more or less a small incognito account to keep up with things after the fact because his substance abuse got real bad after that. The distasteful stuff that's coming out, and still coming out as of when I'm recording this, is unbelievable. I'm sorry if it's so much, but I am a die-hard fan. I really give a shit about this character, and it just infuriates me that someone can be given so much money and so much attention and be acknowledged by John Watts and Andrew Garfield and squander this so bad. I'm gonna sound like a hypocrite in this statement because I'm gonna sound as pretentious as Gavin, but I think I could do it better for the pure fact alone that I'm not a racist that's covering up pedophiles on your set. There is a huge chance that you could do this better. There's so many talented filmmakers out there and people that could have done so much provided they had $100,000. It's just extremely, extremely disappointing. And you've taken all these people's money, refusing to refund them because you probably spent all of that already on the film. But the thing you could have done at least was take people's names out who requested not to be acknowledged in the film because of all the allegations that have come out after the fact. But no, it's just... And it's only getting worse. The Green Goblin grooming stuff only came out a day or two ago. And same with the actor that played Harry abusing substances. It's... what is going on? So Gavin, if you are this guy that thinks that you're a great director and that you could have done it so much better than John Watts, you're wrong, buddy. John Watts still did it better. And even then, his wasn't a fantastic interpretation. You've only damaged the IP and tied Spider-Man to hate. That's the opposite of what this character is about. Oh yeah, no, Spider-Man Lotus for me. Do I do it? Do I finally do it? Do I punch my ticket? I think I might have to. Is there anything redeemable? Yes. There is some redeeming qualities. For me, Spider-Man Lotus is gonna get a 1 out of 10. The music can sometimes be good. It was created with the best of intentions and supposedly made out of love. I'm sorry guys, it's been a complete rant, tangent. I don't even know what this is or how I'm gonna get this edited because it has been hours. If you haven't already, consider subscribing. We do have a goal here. If we hit 1,000 subscribers, I will be talking about every single movie on my shelf, full collection video. I have all sorts of other videos planned as well if you want to see those, so consider hanging around. And yes, if you've made it to the end, somehow, you are a bloody legend. Thank you so much. Hopefully this video wasn't too much. I really got personal with this one because I care about this character, and I'm sure you do too if you've watched this far into the video. But thank you again, have a great day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.